In a small Russian village, covered in a thick blanket of snow, lived an old shoemaker named Papa Panov. His little shop was filled with the smell of leather and wax, and from his window, he could see the village church. It was Christmas Eve, and Papa Panov was all alone. His wife had passed away, and his children were grown and gone, sat by the fire. Reading the Christmas story from his big old Bible, he read about the wise men who brought gifts to the baby Jesus. He thought, if Jesus came to my village, what would I give him? He looked around his shop, and his eyes landed on a tiny pair of leather shoes, the finest he had ever made. I would give him these, he whispered. As he drifted off to sleep in his chair, he heard a voice. It was gentle and kind. Papa Panov, it said, you have wished to see me. Look for me tomorrow on the street. I will come to your shop. Papa Panov woke with a start. Could it be true? Would Jesus really visit him? The next morning, Christmas Day, he was filled with excitement. Scoot. He made a pot of hot coffee and kept it warm on the stove, ready for his special guest. He peered out the window, watching the street, his heart full of hope. The hours ticked by, but he saw no one who looked like Jesus. Then, he saw an old street sweeper, shivering in the bitter cold. The man looked exhausted, leaning heavily on his broom. Papa Panov's heart went out to him, too. He opened his door and called out, "Come in, my friend. Warm yourself by my fire and have some hot coffee." The sweeper gratefully accepted. As he warmed his hands, Papa Panov saw his worn-out shoes. They were thin and offered little protection from the snow. The sweeper thanked him and went on his way, feeling much warmer and stronger. Papa Panov returned to his post by the window. The street was quiet again. Soon, a young woman came into view. She was poorly dressed and clutched a tiny baby to her chest, trying to shield it from the biting wind. The baby was crying. Papa Panov's heart ached for them. He rushed to the door. "Please, come inside," he urged her. He sat her by the fire and warmed some milk for the baby. A young mother looked down at her baby's bare feet. "I have no shoes for him," she said sadly. Papa Panov's eyes went to the little shelf where the perfect pair of tiny leather shoes sat. He hesitated for just a moment, then took them down. "Here," he said, his voice soft. "These will fit him perfectly." The mother's eyes filled with tears of gratitude. She couldn't thank him enough. After they left, Papa Panov felt a warmth in his heart, even though he had given away his special gift. The day wore on. He gave bread to hungry children and offered comfort to his neighbors. But as evening fell, his hope began to fade. He hadn't seen Jesus. Had he missed him? He sat down in his chair, feeling a little sad. He must have been dreaming after all. Then, the room filled with a soft, warm light. The voice he had heard the night before spoke again. "Papa Panov," it said. He looked up and saw a vision. There was the old street sweeper, the young mother and her baby, the hungry children. As he looked at them, their faces seemed to change, and in each one, he saw the face of Jesus. "I was hungry, and you gave me food," the voice said. "I was thirsty, and you gave me a drink. I was a stranger, and you welcomed me." Papa Panov's heart overflowed with joy. Jesus had come after all. He had been there all day, in every person he had helped. And Papa Panov knew this had been the best Christmas of his life.